top 10 radar. Yeah, we on your radar.
Welcome to another Awkwardcast. So today I've got with me Gavin. Gavin is the cream of the crop in the construction world and has got such a great reputation. I'm really excited to bring him on board, and today I want to sort of delve into the details as to why that was. Gavin, do you want to give a little bit of background of your vast experience in the construction industry?
Yeah, that's fine. I've been around in Norfolk for 37 years in my career.
Yeah.
So I've been there and seen many things and experienced them.
I can imagine.
It's been fantastic. I've been lucky to have such a massive sort of opportunity to grow my own career and experience lots of different projects. Met lots of different people along the way.
Yeah.
And
do you know what, the amount of people that have contacted me on LinkedIn and messages saying, "Are you working with Gavin?" And so yeah, really well known.
That does actually make you feel quite proud of what you've done over the 37 years I've been about.
I can imagine.
But the relationships you get with people are built over working together and collaborating on projects, and that's what you have to do.
Yeah, 100%. So I initially reached out to Gavin on LinkedIn. We had a few conversations, and I'd already seen his post on LinkedIn, etc., and I knew sort of the vast, extensive knowledge he had, and I thought it could be a good fit for what we're looking for. So reached out to Gavin, had a meeting, and then one thing led to another. That sounds really weird.
Yeah, messages on LinkedIn.
Yeah. Sorry, Gavin. Yeah. So after that awkward comment, I'm going to let Gavin do a bit more talking. So Gavin, when I reached out to you, what made you want to work with us?
Being completely honest, I hadn't really come across Bespoke before. I saw lots of content starting to ramp up on LinkedIn, which obviously tweaked my interest.
Yeah.
And there was some really fantastic projects that you were doing. The quality that you were producing on the projects that you were showing off on LinkedIn was fantastic. And I actually really like the brand name Bespoke. Yep. It really does do it for me, to be honest. I do think that gives a really good projects the business really well.
Yeah.
And I think if we can take that forward in a way that you could really make something of this business, and that's why I'm here.
Yeah, well, we're really happy to have you on board, Gavin, and the team are really excited to see what's possible. So the reason why I reached out to Gavin initially was to sort of, I know he had a big background in the commercial world, but off the back of that, I've realised that it's not just the commercial world, it's sort of you've got vast knowledge in all industries to do with construction. So that has really driven my aspiration as to what's possible. So I've talked in other videos about doing like commercial leg to Bespoke. Again, just trying to sort of bolster in workflow. So we're doing our investment stuff with our investors, and we're also doing our own projects, and we're also got our clientele work and moving into sort of the whole concept we set out a year ago was doing less better. So we're having bigger projects on. But the commercial world is something we've not tapped into wholly. We've done a few schools in that and a couple of churches, which have went really well. But we've never really it's never been our driver. But I do feel there's a huge bulk of work there that we're sort of missing out on that we could potentially tap into.
Yeah, I think the benefit that you've got is that you're starting from a base where you've got work.
Yeah.
You're not a fresh start. You're not relying on winning lots of commercial work because you've got these big one-off luxury houses. You've got for sale. That you're doing investment, and you've got an income. Yeah. So those things will obviously bolster the platform of where you want to take this business. And I've obviously got experience in residential as well.
Yeah.
With housing associations and for sale as well. So I think that mix will just be fantastic going forward because you're not relying on one thing.
Yeah.
And that's the key to this. is that you don't want to be reliant on just one sector or one source.
It just makes you so versatile. When the world
Yeah.
moves, people potentially stop building so many houses. And again, the commercial world is always going to be building.
Yeah.
There's always going to be
The government wants to build 375 houses a year, 375,000 houses a year.
Yeah.
Now, that's going to be 5 years. What's going to happen after that? I don't know.
Absolutely.
We don't know.
But they're the sort of moves that we're making to move into the industry as well.
But right now, that sector's has been quite a difficult sector because of the interest rates and inflation and all those things. But I do believe that sector is going to boom again in the next.
I think it has to, doesn't it?
It's got to.
I think it has to. We need the houses, and the supply and demand.
Yeah.
So there's going to be more houses that are needed, and that's what the market want to tap into.
Yeah. So that's definitely a market that will expand, and especially in sites between 10 and 50 units.
Yeah.
There's lots of big boys out there who do 50 plus, 100 plus, but they're not interested in 10 to 50.
No. So there is a bit of a niche there.
So there's a bit of a niche there, and there's not many contractors who fill that niche.
Yeah.
So I think that's definitely a focus for us.
Absolutely. So bringing Gavin into the team was a sort of the brief was essentially shaking stuff up and not having someone within the firm that isn't a yes man who's going to say, why the hell are you doing it that? We should do it like this. And sort of another person's opinion is really valued. And we've already been working together probably 3 months now, and that value is like shone through massively. So Gavin, commercial work, obviously we've been doing a lot of work in the background, forming some relationships, etc. What would you say the next steps are into sort of getting our foot on the ladder?
Commercial work, mainly in our industry, is around education, health, leisure. They're the main sort of sectors that I would probably concentrate on. The focus would be to get on some frameworks.
Yeah.
That's where public sector spending is. That's where it's at.
Yeah. We've been doing a lot of work on that, haven't we?
Yeah. So that's our ultimate goal is to achieve that. But we just need to get some projects and some people. Obviously, that I've got the experience in doing those type of projects, which some of the people we got obviously have. But over the sort of my changes of employer previously, I've had people follow me along my journey, all of which who have got that experience, and hopefully that will happen again, and that we will then attract those people. Yeah,
there's a fair amount of similarities in even like the one-off new builds and the commercial world. We're still talking schedules, programs, procurement, supply chain.
The process is exactly the same, so that there is no fundamental reason why any of those people would have a problem with it. Yeah, and but the bigger we get, then obviously that we can bring more people in, and we just need to make certain they're the best people.
Yeah, exactly. We had a big conversation on that the other day, didn't we? Yeah. A-team players that are, again, credible, got background, sort of the best of the best. They're the only sort of people we want working with us. So if you are one of them, please reach out. Okay, so Gavin, what I'm really excited about for where the business is going is the actual tapping into the affordable homes. Again, we've been doing a little bit of legwork on there, but we have to build a hell of a lot of houses very quickly. And I think there's going to be a supply and demand. So it's a good time to be in that niche that we were just talking about between 10 and 20 houses. We've proved ourselves time and time again doing that number of houses and done some beautiful developments. So again, that bit of credibility when we're talking to people in the commercial world, we've got a little bit of background behind us to say who we are and that we've done this before, and here's sort of some reviews on it.
And if you can move that ability, capability of the quality that you produce in the other types of projects into affordable homes as well,
100%,
then you've smashed it.
Yeah,
that's
there's a really good point actually, because we set the bar so high when we're doing our developments that there's no reason to not have it right.
Just because it's affordable homes, people people think that you're going to build them lesser quality. And,
Yeah.
One, the housing associations won't accept that. Two, I wouldn't expect to provide anyone with something that's second rate.
Yeah.
And why should you?
No, it's a really good point, actually. Like setting your grade up here where we won't accept anything else. And again, getting a couple of those developments of that high level will then snowball into others.
I did some affordable housing not long back and transferred those skills of quality and customer service and all of the things that people look for. And straight away, we were seen as the best contractor they'd ever worked with.
I bet.
You sort of think, well, we've just done what you'd expect to do.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Gavin. I think what you just said about the standard needs to be what you'd accept in your own home.
Yeah.
And that's the level, isn't it? In fact, that's something that I've said to the guys throughout our whole time at Bespoke is if you wouldn't have it in your own home,
and
then change it.
That is exactly my approach and always has been, is that if I walk on a building site and I walk in a room and the room in the plaster is
rippled
or it's got a patch in it or a bump in it, I wouldn't accept that in my house.
No.
If I was, doing that. So why would anyone else accept it?
Yeah.
So if everybody has got that same approach,
if you can drill that into the managers, who then drill it into the agents, who then drill it into the contractors
with a right first time approach,
rather
than wasting money having to go back and get it right.
Well, when you set out the bar so high, once a contractor or anyone has been pulled up on it once, they know the sort of standard we're working to, and then they don't happen again.
Unfortunately, if you let them get away with something, they will then carry on doing it. And if you set it out how you want it to start with, then they're not disappointed as to when you do pull them up on something.
Yeah, they know the standards. Okay, Gavin, I want to speak to you about leadership. From your perspective, what do you think great leadership is?
Listening to people is massively important. If you're constantly talking and doing all the talking and not listening, then people get very frustrated by that.
Yeah.
Being micromanaged, people absolutely hate that. So if you can empower people, in almost sharing the leadership with people, that people thrive on that they like to be empowered.
That's something we're really hot on over here. We're trying to sort of...
I have really noticed that. I mean, the people who work here are very passionate. They're very driven. They like to be involved and they like to be listened to.
Yeah. Well, we sort of set out...
definitely happening.
When we started taking on some new faces, we sort of set out that we wanted people to be the bosses of their own industry and sort of take control of it, own it. Do you know what I mean? And that sort of autonomy when you're at work has went a long way, and people really care then.
Yeah. Customer first approach. If you're leading a business and that you sell that to your staff, is that your customers got to be first in
number one.
We do, and it's number one. The level of customer service that you provide to that person will decide whether they tell their friend about you, or whether there's a business and they tell somebody else about you, or whether that business has got repeat work and you get more work going forward.
Yeah. I can imagine in the commercial world, the repeat work is more and more, isn't it? I mean, one-off builds, don't get me wrong, we've done some clients' work where there's sort of the next house we've then done and one after that, or phases at least. But in the commercial world, I should imagine there's sort of people that you sort of get involved with that then move on to the next development and the next development. So
it's all about consistency. We've recently done the business plan together. And that was one of the massive words that came out of that day, was to achieve consistency.
Yeah,
the customer expects that, and you go on one job, you may have two jobs with the same client.
Yeah,
and what they don't want to see is something completely different on one side to another.
Yeah,
and that is massive.
Yeah,
and if you get consistent delivery,
it's the process of
the projects. Yeah.
So I mean, we're sort of now naming it process of excellence. But that process of excellence, if it's the same throughout the board, every client knows we're getting the same service, the same.
And when you're bringing new starters in and you've got people coming into the business, they know what's expected of them.
Yeah,
they know what forms they've got to use. They know what process is, and all of those things. If you haven't got that, then consistency goes out the window, because everything's about people.
Yeah,
and leadership is about how you lead those people.
Yeah.
And generally they'll produce for you if you give them.
Yeah. Process is absolutely critical. It's just, I guess, it's trying to not do processes for processes' sake, which is I really want to drive into the team where it's sort of the process in place, everybody's adhering to the same thing, so every client's getting the same, but also not going so corporate that everything's got tape.
We don't want red tape for absolutely everything.
Yeah.
You've got to give people some responsibility.
Exactly.
And that people who have been in a tier one contractor where there is a form for everything and they need 10 signatures for absolutely everything. A lot of people leave because they just can't deal with that.
Well, we've had a couple of people come to us for that very reason.
Yeah.
And it gives them no sort of autonomy at work. Yeah, so we talked about red tape and tier one and all of those things. So on everyone's mind with those sort of companies, it's all about growth. For me, growth can only happen if we maintain our high standards and keep employing great people.
Yeah, I think it's really good to have aspirations to grow into something where you want to get to.
Yeah.
And it's all about making it happen and getting the best people.
Yeah.
You can't grow and achieve what you want to achieve without the best people in your team. And so
absolutely, that sort of surrounds our business plan that we've now put together, and who would implement at what stages in a really staged growth plan, which I'm super excited about.
Good. It's don't get too big too quick.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
made that mistake.
We're going to be in different sectors, working with different clients, and that will give us the opportunity to naturally grow.
Yeah.
Rather than just pushing something that you don't want to be working on projects that just for the sake of growing.
No, I completely agree. No, I really appreciate all your feedback, and it's been really great working with you, Gavin. Look forward to it more.
Cheers.